What kind of monster kicks a woman's dialysis chair, knowing it's keeping her alive? That's the question I was screaming inside when Tom's boot smashed into Emily's medical setup, sending tubes and monitors crashing in a sickening symphony. The gasps from our neighbors barely registered as my blood boiled, my fists clenched, and my heart pounded with a fury I'd never known. Emily, my wife, my everything, lay there, vulnerable, her eyes wide with shock. In that moment I knew I had to act. I grabbed my phone and called Jake, my casino guy who'd seen the inside of a prison cell but came out swinging as a boxing coach. What he did next? Let's just say it left jaws on the floor, literally. Rewind to that morning. The sun spilled through our Levy-Wying room window, painting golden stripes across the hardwood floor. Outside, birds chirped like they didn't have a care in the world, and our little neighborhood felt like a bubble of calm. Lush gardens, friendly waves, kids on bikes. It was the kind of place you'd think trouble couldn't touch. Emily and I had built a life here, a quiet one, especially after her diagnosis. Her dialysis chair, a hulking thing of padding and precision, sat in the corner of our cozy Levy-Wying room. It wasn't just furniture, it was her lifeline, humming softly as it worked its magic. That hum, annoying to some, was our reassurance, our constant. Emily's smile, even on tough days, could light up the darkest corners. We'd carved out a routine lavender in the air, books neatly stacked, our old lab, Rusty, sprawled at her feet. This was our sanctuary, our shield against the chaos of her illness. But peace? It's a fragile thing. That morning, as Emily settled into her chair, the machine's rhythm lulling us into calm, a knock shattered it. Not a friendly tap, but a sharp, demanding thud. I glanced at Emily. Her eyes, wise and weary, knew trouble was coming. I opened the door to find Carl and Tom, our neighborhood self-styled HOA cops. These guys weren't just annoying, they were tyrants in polo shirts, badges gleaming like they thought they ruled the world. Carl, chest puffed out, strode in without asking, Tom slinking behind him like a hyena. Official business, Carl barked, his voice dripping with fake authority. Emily watched them, her gaze steady, but I could feel my pulse racing. They'd been here before, nitpicking about our mailbox or lawn, but this time, they crossed the line. They zeroed in on Emily's chair, calling it an eyesore that broke some vague HOA rule. Carl waved a dogged rulebook, preaching about aesthetic harmony, like it was gospel. Tom, smirking, rattled off fines, each word a jab meant to scare us. Emily's eyes hardened, her quiet strength a stark contrast to their bluster. She'd faced worse than these clowns, but their words stung, chipping away at the peace we'd fought so hard for. I felt a protective fire ignite in my chest. These guys, with their petty power trips, weren't going to bully us. Not today. The tension thickened as Carl droned on, but it was Tom who lit the fuse. With a sneer, he stepped forward and kicked Emily's chair hard. The crash echoed like a gunshot. Tubes tangled, the machine screeched, and Emily gasped, flailing as her lifeline toppled. Time slowed, my view shone narrowing to her terrified face and Tom's smug grin. I rushed to her, my hands shaking as I checked for injuries. She was unharmed but shaken, her breath ragged, her eyes asking why anyone could be so cruel. Tom stood there, satisfied, while Carl shuffled, too weak to stop his buddy. My rage was a Levy-Wying thing, clawing to break free, but I held it back. Emily needed me calm. Still, as I helped her to the couch, I made a silent vow they'd pay. I grabbed my phone and dialed Jake. He's family, the kind you call when the world's falling apart. Jake's no saint, his past is rough, years behind bars for mistakes he's paid for. But he's tough, a boxing coach who turned his life around, teaching inmates to channel their anger into something productive. When he picked up, I didn't need to say much. They hurt Emily, I said, my voice tight. I'm on my way, he replied, no questions asked. Hanging up, I felt a shift, like the air before a storm. Jake was coming, and with him, justice. Emily sat on the couch, tears brimming but refusing to fall. She's the strongest person I know, facing her illness with a courage I can only admire. But this? This was a violation, a theft of her dignity. "Are you okay?" I whispered, righting the chair with careful hands. She nodded, but her trembling hands betrayed her. "I can't believe they did that," she murmured, her voice a mix of hurt and disbelief. I took her hand, promising, "They'll answer for this." My mind raced cops, lawyers, neighbors, but first, I had to make sure Emily's treatment could continue. I checked the machine, praying it wasn't damaged. It hummed back to life, and relief washed over me, but the fire in my gut didn't fade. A softer knock broke the silence. It was Sarah, our neighbor, her eyes wide with concern. She'd seen Carl and Tom storm out and heard the crash. Her presence was a reminder we weren't alone. Emily managed a small smile, and I felt a spark of hope. Maybe we could fight this, not just for us, but for everyone these guys had bullied. As Sarah left, I knew the real battle was coming. Jake would handle the immediate threat, but this was bigger than one fight. By afternoon, our quiet street buzzed with tension. Jake's old car rolled up, its engine purring as he stepped out. He's not loud or flashy, but there's a weight to him, a calm that says he's seen worse and come out swinging. His eyes, sharp and steady, took in Emily's pale face, and something fierce flickered in them. We sat in the levying room, recounting the day's outrage. Jake listened, his silence heavy with purpose. "These guys need a lesson," he said, his voice low but ironclad. "Not just for you, but for everyone they pushed around." I nodded, feeling the weight of his words. This wasn't about revenge. It was about righting a wrong. Word spread, and neighbors called for an emergency meeting at the community hall. The air was thick as we gathered, fluorescent lights flickering over tense faces. Jake stood beside me, a rock in the storm, his presence steadying the room. Whispers hushed as Carl and Tom strutted in, their smirks screaming arrogance. They thought they owned us, that their badges made them untouchable. They were wrong. Carl started his usual spiel, all fake authority and empty threats, but the crowd wasn't buying it. Their murmurs grew sharper, their stares harder. Jake caught my eye, his nod a signal. It was time. As Carl paused, Jake stood, his movements slow but deliberate. The room froze, every eye on him. Tom's smirk faltered, a flicker of fear in his eyes. "Gentlemen," Carl tried, his voice cracking, but Jake was done talking. In a blur, Jake's fists moved, precise and powerful, honed by years of discipline. Two cracks echoed. Tom and Carl hit the floor, clutching their jaws, their bravado shattered. Gasps turned to cheers, the room erupting in a mix of shock and relief. Jake stepped back, calm as ever, his point made. The hall buzzed with energy, neighbors standing taller, their fear replaced by defiance. The fallout was electric. Some neighbors hailed Jake as a hero, grateful for someone finally standing up. Others, loyal to the HOA's old guard, grumbled about violence and order. But no one could deny the shift. Carl and Tom, bruised and humbled, mumbled apologies under the crowd's glare. The meeting ended in chaos, but it was a chaos of change. Whispers turned to plans, committees formed, investigations launched. The HOA's dirty laundry, from fake fines to favoritism, spilled out, and for the first time, accountability felt real. Emily, watching it unfold, found her strength again. Her ordeal had sparked something bigger, a movement that bound our neighborhood in a way I'd never seen. Jake, once just my cousin, became a symbol of justice, his past a badge of resilience. Meetings grew lively, neighbors who never spoken now debated with passion. Banners went up proclaiming, "We decide," and they meant it. Weeks later, at a neighborhood picnic, Emily laughed with Sarah, her smile brighter than I'd seen in months. The HOA was under review, its power checked by a community that refused to bow. Our home, once a target, was now a hub of hope. Jake's stand had done more than break jaws, it broke the chains of fear, reviewing a new story for our neighborhood, one of courage, unity, and justice. And as I looked at Emily, her hand in mine, I knew we'd won more than a fight. We'd reclaimed our peace, and no one could take that away.